Do you want to know how to teach teens about internet safety? You are not alone, and we are hoping that they will listen, right? I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I teach all over the world about parenting, good communication, how to build strong family bonds, child development, and education, all through the lens of the principles of self-government. And in this video, we're talking about internet safety. In this video, we're going to discover how to guide your teen to make wise internet choices and how to help them learn the skills that they need so that the internet does not control them. So the internet is a tool, right? Which means it can control them or they can control it. That means they need to have a full understanding about this tool that they're using so that they don't have that tool start to control them. Now, that is one thing that I always teach my children, is that digital devices, phones, iPads, computers, the internet, all of those things are tools, not toys. And that means that we respect them as such. We don't just start using them as toys. And honestly, I never encouraged my children to use computer games or the internet in any way as a toy. It was always something that was used for their studies, some project that was actually more of a tool, an adult usage of that particular thing. And that also meant, as a parent, I had to make sure that I wasn't using the internet or digital devices as a toy as well. I had to set a good example, right? So the way that parents use their devices nowadays is going to spill over to the way that the children use their devices. If you are using social media all the time, they're going to want to use social media all the time. That's just the way it goes. Now, at this time in history, we actually have whole countries who are deciding, like Australia, that just decided this week the children under age 16 in the country of Australia are not allowed to have access to any social media accounts. This is because they have recognized that this has become very dangerous, even life-threatening for children, because of all of the various suicide things and self-harm things that are happening on those social media platforms that are influencing children for the worse. A child's prefrontal cortex is not fully developed when they're in their teen years. In fact, it doesn't fully develop until they're between the ages of 18 and 24 years old. So we're talking mid-20s before the brain is fully developed. This means that they can easily be taken over by information, resources online. Now, what are some of the scariest things on the internet for children? I mean, we could point to like drugs and sexual things and all that kind of stuff, but at the end of the day, guess what is sucking in the children the most? The social media and the gaming. And when they are sucked into social media and gaming, there are predators that are in there that are actually preying on our children. They are pushing messages to them that we would never want them to. They're actually trying to get to know them. They're gaming with them. They are exploiting our children in many ways. Children are trafficked more now than ever before, even though we have all of this information about child trafficking and how it is happening. And this is because of the internet. The more we push the internet and digital devices on our children, the more we actually put them at risk. Now, this doesn't mean that I'm completely anti-technology or anti-digital devices or even the internet. My goodness, I'm a YouTuber. I wouldn't even be able to do my job without the internet, right? So no, I think it's a blessing, it's a good thing. But as with any tool, we have to absolutely respect it. And we have to teach our children how to do the same, which means it's a good idea to hold off their connection to the internet and that digital virtual world as long as possible. By the time your child hits their teen years, they probably need to understand a healthy way to approach their internet relationship. So yes, they do have a relationship with technology and the internet. We have relationships with everything around us. I have relationships with my phone. I have relationships with my writing implements and my pillow that I love to sleep on at night. I have feelings about those things, and that's how I know that I have a relationship. It's not the same as a human relationship, but those relationships can sometimes supersede human relationships and start to make it so that a person is disconnected from human relationships. This is why we care about the relationship that our child actually has with technology, because more than any other thing, our digital devices are actually fracturing the relationships that our children have with live human people. So let's talk about how to guide our children through their experiences online. I actually have an entire training on my teachingselfgovernment.com website that is called Parenting in a Tech Sexual World, and I highly recommend going and seeing that, because that is a 7-hour training about parenting children in this age of technology and all of the sexual stuff that's happening online. But just to give you a little taste of maybe something that you can do to teach your child about internet safety, here are some tips that I would recommend. First, make sure that you always have an ongoing conversation about technology and what it's used for. Remember, it's a tool, not a toy. Second, make sure that your child sees you set the good example for how to behave properly with technology and the internet, and when to put it down, walk away, and stay away. That means you need to know how to accept a no answer and drop the subject about technology usage yourself. So what about drop the subject? That's right, that's one of those steps to one of the 4 basic skills of self-government. The 4 basic skills of self-government are following instructions, accepting no answers and criticism, accepting consequences, and disagreeing appropriately. When a person accepts a no answer, they can drop the subject. When you choose not to use your technology at a certain time, that means that you are choosing to give yourself a no answer at that time and accept it by not thinking about using the technology anymore. A person is not really ready to use technology if they can't give themselves a no answer from the technology and actually stay away from it for a period of time. This is a good thing to try out with your teen to see if they're even ready to be using the internet or online resources that much. You might want to explain to them that if they ask for it too much, use it too much, then you will know that they're actually not ready to govern it, because it's actually probably controlling them instead. Some other tips are, make sure that when your child uses technology that they are always with you. So I had a special desk made in my kitchen, hooked it to my counter. It was beautiful, granite countertop, it matched and everything, and that's where the family computer sat. My children had to use that computer. That was the only one that they could get access to, but they didn't get access without me signing them in, and my password was really long. After I would sign them into the computer, then they had to be watched while they were on the computer. This isn't to say that I didn't trust my children, but I wanted to make sure that we could discuss the experiences that they were having online and that it didn't take too long. Once a child gets online, sometimes they fall into this pattern where they stay on for a really long time. That means that they're sucked in, it's controlling them, or they're using it as a toy instead of just using it as a tool. So I had to observe or be in the room. That's why I had it in the kitchen, because lots of activity happens in the kitchen. I was there, I could see, the screen was facing the room where everyone could see what was going on. That made it so that they couldn't get onto something without other people detecting that it was happening. Again, not that my children were trying to get onto things with bad pictures or those types of things, but you never know what's going to pop up, and you never know when a child might be curious about a certain length or topic and want to go and try it out, even though they know in their heart that they probably shouldn't. Children are curious. This is why you have to be there to discuss what's going on. Even in their teen years, it's okay to have another set of eyes on the device for a while. I know this is easier said than done when all of the schools right now are giving youth, especially teens, their own laptops or Chromebooks to do their schoolwork on. How are you going to be there all the time? I know, it's a real situation. So that means you have to talk to your child about their goals with technology. What is the role of technology, and what is their role with technology? Who should be in charge? What types of things should they see and not see? What do they think that they could fall into or get sucked into accidentally? They need to make sure that they articulate these things with you, write it out, create your own manifesto with them so that they know, this is how I will handle technology in my life. And if I have a problem, this is how I'll handle it too. Have a conversation with them about their goals and plans, have them sign a document, make one with you. And this isn't as much about a contract with you. This is them creating a plan for themselves and creating a contract with themselves. That this is how I want it to be. I don't want it to control me. There used to be a girl who was part of the film crew for my YouTube videos, and she was actually in high school. And she said to me, you know, Nicholeen, when I was 12 years old, I was so addicted to social media. I was so addicted to the internet, and my my digital device. And she said, and I would have said, no, I wasn't to anybody, but I knew that I was. And it wasn't until I was challenged by somebody to put it down and get rid of it, even though it was super hard, I did it. It wasn't until that time that I realized how addicted I really was. I found myself thinking about it all the time. I found myself feeling for it and wondering if it was in my pocket. And I truly had withdrawals from that device. But after staying away from it for a period of months, I found myself able to step back into using the device with a lot more wisdom. That's really what we're trying to help our teens achieve, right? Discernment that comes from true wisdom, understanding what the device is, how our brains work on that device, what chemicals are fired when we're using it. Do they know that? Those types of things need to be trained to our children so that they are able to make an informed decision about what they want their internet usage to be like. Then sign a paper, follow through, check up with them regularly, and make sure that you tell them that you will bring to their attention if you notice they're on it too much or they seem to be experiencing personality differences that might be a result of too much internet or digital usage. Make sure that you don't forget your role in their life. It is your role to sometimes say no when they can't do it for themselves, to instruct them and guide them in the right direction, and make sure you correct them when they go off course. All of these things are talked about plus more in my full day webinar that I did called Parenting in a Tech Sexual World. You can find that in the store at my website, teachingselfgovernment.com.